I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Yesterday I gave you a short clip showing that I had stopped by the Habitat for Humanity. Today I'm going to go through the stuff that I got there. Had a road trip today. Had some things I had to pick up, supply run. While I was on the way, I stopped at the Habitat for Humanity Restore. Always a worthwhile trip. I picked up this bin full of bins, packed full of all kinds of things. These are staples for telephone wire. I already have a ton of these. The lady who owned the house before us really wanted to have vines on the side of her house. So she took all these little ivy vines that were growing around the base of the house and took these tacks and stapled them up to the cedar siding. There must have been 3 times this many. Got them in a jar. I don't know what I would use them for, maybe chicken wire. But anyways, there was a ton of them. And now I have a ton more. Empty bin, empty bin. Oh, these are picture hangers. Kind of nice picture hangers. You can drive those teeth into the side of the picture frame, then put a nail in through that hole and anchor this to the wooden picture frame. Take a piece of cable, tie it across between the 2 sides, and hang your picture on the cable. That lets you align the picture any way you want it as far as getting it level. This is another kind of picture hanger. This one is designed to be nailed to the back of the picture frame. Then you put a nail in the wall and hook the nail into whatever one of those teeth makes the picture hang straight. You can flip it over and use this one, but I can't really see an advantage to having that wide a gap on there. It lets it slip back and forth too much. I think the teeth work a lot better. These are more cable anchors. This is kind of a cool design. It's something that you can peel off this glue backing, stick it to the wall, put your wire in there, and then just clip it shut. Anchor the wire. Real nice if you're setting up for a desktop computer. Not so much now. Everybody's using their phones and don't have anywhere near the cables that they used to. But this is good for your computer or stereo system or whatever thing you were doing back in the 80s. This is a cabinet stop. You mount this inside the cabinet, usually at the top so you're not banging into it all the time, and then you mount this to the door. So when you close the door, it clips, holds the door securely. These are cable clamps. You just fasten these up to the wall and loop the cable through there. Cable, hose, pipe, whatever you're going to hang up. Another empty drawer. Another empty drawer. Bin full of washers. And some nuts. Oh, these are expansion anchors. You drill a 1/4-inch hole through the plasterboard in your wall. And then you put this through there. These little teeth are supposed to anchor into the paper. They don't very well, but that's what they're supposed to do. Then you tighten the screw up and it expands this and locks it inside the plasterboard and lets you hang a picture. You can hold a pretty good amount on this, but got to remember it is plasterboard. These are old-fashioned paper clips. Punch a hole through the paper, you stick the clip through, you open this up, lets you make a little packet out of your paper. Empty drawer, empty drawer. There's the staples again. Cotter pins. Working on tractors and lawnmowers. Cotter pins come in handy. Empty drawer. Poly anchors. Similar to the expansion bolts, in that these get stuffed through the wall, they expand, you drive the screw through, it pushes this out like that and locks it into the wall. Not something I'm a big fan of, but you know, what the heck. And here's the directions on plastic toggles, application chart. Yep, that's how they work. These are a different kind of expansion anchor, sometimes called expansion plugs. You drill a hole, you stick that in the wall, you put a screw into that, it expands the plastic, latches it into the wall, very similar to the toggles and the expansion bolts. This is a ball bearing. You can drive that into a piece of wood and spin that piece of wood all over the place. It kind of gives you a way to put a bearing onto something. Got 3 of them in there. More nuts. Swag hangers. Used to, in the 70s, you had these chain lamps that you hung all over the pad that you lived in. Now if you buy a house that was redecorated in the 70s or built in the 70s, you're going to find these stuck all over the place and makes a nice hole you got to patch in the ceiling. So that's all of those. I also got this thing, which is a sawhorse leg. You put a 2x4 on either side of that. That way you end up with a sawhorse. A leg in each one of these and a bar across the center. They actually work pretty good. If you want to, you can take them apart and store them, or you can just open them up and lay the legs flat and they'll go up against the wall and kind of let you store it that way. In the same bin where I got the sawhorse legs, they had a nice long starting punch. This is a pin punch, but it's used just to start the pin. It's not something that you're going to drive the pin all the way through because the taper is going to get locked in the hole. But it gives you enough distance you can get down into somewhere and start a pin and then use a longer pin punch to drive it on through. The end's a little screwed up. I'm going to have to cut that back a bit. And this end has been peened over. Somebody ground it off a bit, but it needs to be ground to the point where there isn't that overhang, no mushrooming. You don't want to have that chipping off on you. Once again, you can never have too many clamps. This is a stout little bugger. I don't know who made it, but it's a nice one. Got good padding on it. Plenty of spring. This little file here is for sharpening a chainsaw. Very similar to that one over there. And it just happens to go with the Grandberg chainsaw filer that I got. So I'll be using this to touch up the blade on the Poland. Just as a practice. So that cost 50 cents. I thought it was worth it. Came with a handle. This is a Nicholson file handle and a unknown maker of file. I imagine this is Chinese. It's rough. It doesn't have the edges done well. Missing a tooth there. But I bought it for the handle because it cost me 50 cents. This handle lets you mount different files in it. There, we got it moving. It's tapered, so you put the file in there and then you put this over the top of it. The two wedge together and it gives it a pretty good handle. Nicholson. One of the last good things that Nicholson makes is these little file handles because their files suck. And this thing is a 3M abrasive wheel, and they're not the greatest. I mean, the arbors suck, and and they're out of round. They don't line up too well, but boy, that abrasive cuts like the dickens. You got a rusty piece and you want to get the rust off real quickly without taking away a whole lot of steel, this will do it. Because of the large gaps between the abrasive strands, it doesn't clog up, so there's no smearing of the stuff into it. It'll just keep right on chewing. Fits into a drill motor. Large diameter lets it spin fast enough that the surface speed can really remove the rust well. I like this more in a corded drill motor than a battery operated, because you'll run a battery down in no time at all running one of these things. But a corded drill, you'll wear out this thing before you stop the corded drill. So that was my haul from the Restore. Did pretty well. Very happy with the result. Now I've got a box full of things. And this box matches a box that I have downstairs. I'm going to check it against the arrangement that I have. I might be restacking things. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.
This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.